SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Creating illusion of depth by its size reduction is one policy or one device that we have already tried. So, there is certain recession that should take place as one object is going farther away, and we are trying to give our audience that feel that the space is going deeper. So, there we are reducing the size, but to get it perfected, we need to also know how much reduction is actually taking place there. So, if we just go by general perception, that will give you a general sense of depth in a space, but to make it perfect and scientific, we take another device which is very popular, that is known as linear perspective, and that is very attractive. That was a characteristic feature of 15th century and actually the 16th century Renaissance. Take a bit of a knowledge from the Renaissance linear perspective and let us explore it in the given space. So, this is how our eye sees things, that there is a spatial recession that takes place. So, if the object is close to our eye, it will appear larger. As our eye moves back, the object will look smaller. So, there is a recession in space that takes place, and after a point, very interestingly, everything will meet into a point, and we call it, it's like quite well known as the vanishing point. So, this vanishing point is the point from where nothing can be seen anymore. So, in the vanishing point, everything will meet into a point and disappear afterwards. So, let us see how it works. For example, if we take a space which is an interior of a room where all the lines will meet into a point because we see it from a particular angle, it is more like we work as like how the human eye works. So, we see things, we stand somewhere, and then from there we try to see the other objects. So, if this is the orthogonals or the helping lines that is created in the given area in this picture, I will just show you how it works. So, you may follow it for your references. So, if this is a room, we can make one wall of the room. So, if this is the wall, we know that this is the vanishing point that we have created. Now, this vanishing point is getting blocked by a wall because this part is blocked. So, just to get another layer of it, we may choose to create a window from the same surface. So, there is one opening, it has a window, this is just a cut. Now, maybe this is one wall. Every time we are making the diagram, we need to consider this vanishing point, and all lines should come from here because none of the line can be parallel. All line has to meet somewhere compulsorily. So, it goes here, it joins, you continue the line, and then we get one part of the ceiling. Similarly, another line from here that is meeting at the vanishing point will create another part of the ceiling. So, this particular area will work as a ceiling, and then similarly we will draw the floor. So, this area will work as a floor, that is one wall, and we will have a viewpoint following the same order. So, as we remember, we have created one window, we can also choose to create another window on this wall of the same size. How to get that? So, all these lines will be parallel to each other, which are located in a vertical order, and all the horizontal lines has to be meeting somewhere. So, they have to be meeting somewhere at the point that we call the vanishing point. However, this is another opening. Let us make another web opening to the other side. If not a window anymore, there should also be a door. So, I will make a door from this side. And see, all these lines are parallel to each other. As it goes deeper, it comes to a closer proximity. So, that is the door. They cannot be similar in size because there will be the spatial recession that is taking place because of the size reduction, because of the recession in the space. So, our door is made, there are two windows. We can also choose to make a bed following the same order. So, if we at all have a bed at the right side of the surface, we need to consider the floor, because the bed cannot go anywhere on top of the wall. So, it has to be grounded on the floor. So, let us make another line to get the height of the bed. Now, this is the bed. Again, each and every line that we are deciding to draw has to follow the same order. It has to meet at the vanishing point. So, this is the bed that we have created in one side. Let us put a pillow to give it a better look. So, this is the kind of a bed. It can have other furnitures, other things also, but let us not get diverted with that. Let us work on the window first. So, that is the open window, and now we have all the lines to guide us to get it perfect. They cannot be parallel, keep that in mind. So, that is the open window, this is the bed, the pillow, and this is a door. So, let us extend the floor a little more and also make the floor pattern to get the spatial depth. Now, all these lines on the floor should be parallel to each other. As it goes deeper, it will come close, and that is because of the vertical location that we discussed in the earlier lecture, that it follows a vertical order, right. So, when it goes in the vertical order, it should also reduce in size. So, all these lines are becoming parallel and the distance between the lines are reducing. So, this is the floor. To make it even more prominent, we can use some interesting features like making it alternatively black and white like a chessboard. That is the pattern of our floor. Look how deep it is getting in and how perfect the depth is. I will take some time to show this so that you can also do it with me. It is not difficult, but one needs to be a little more particular. Because it is not how we look at things, it is not only how we look at things, but also how we know the things are. So, it is a combination of our knowledge and understanding, and that is a typical of Renaissance, that we know the science of it, how it works. So, when we say we are making something perfect, we are trying to go to the logic of each and everything and solve the problem by looking, thinking and doing all together. So, this way the space is slowly going very deep, and that is the room created. I think you are happy and you are convinced that the drawing is perfect. There is nothing that has gone wrong so far, but we know we can create it even more interesting by erasing off all this unnecessary things now that is not needed. They were there to help us out. Now that we are done with that, we can always erase it off, because there is no need to show all these things. They are not there in the surface, they are there to just keep ourselves on track. So, they are like the grades. So, I have removed some of the lines which were not needed, and we can also use this the window. Maybe we can show a beautiful landscape beyond the window, where we can place some greenery. So, we can have a row of tree, a beautiful landscape. We can also show a suggestion of road, a footpath, everything is meeting into a point. So, this is another part of the road. We can make some buildings, some markets, some shops following the same line, same order. We can also show a faraway mountain that will finally block our vision. So, we have a faraway mountain, and I think we must also have a blue sky. So, this is a successful example to a one point perspective. But remember that I said it is a successful example of a one point perspective, but this is not all. We cannot just be satisfied with this much, because there are many other things to explore here. Now, what we are still not able to discover from this drawing is something which is very severe. If I tell you, you will get to know. Now, let us ask ourselves a question, that if at all we will have to make the other surface of this window, or to show the thickness of this wall, how thick the wall is, how to solve the problem? How will you know that how thick this other wall is, where it is going deeper? If it is an open window, we should also have the right idea of how the recession is taking place in the other order. So, that puts us under some other challenge. So, I will try to show it in another diagram here, that you have one object here which is perhaps this big, and you will have to show the other surface of it, and you have no clue how the recession will be at the other side, because we have no clue where the vanishing point is placed at the other side. So, what we need, what we require here is another point, and that will complete our knowledge, that will make it more scientific. So, for that we need another device, that is to get a completion of our knowledge to work with 2-point perspective, because when we see things, it is not just one point that we consider, but there is always another point. So, let us place the 2 points on one horizontal line. They will have to be in one line, because we just have a pair of eyes and we see things together. So, if they are the orthogonals now, to help us out, let us see how we can make use of it. So, with this kind of lines, it makes us like it becomes much easier to make surfaces like this, maybe as like if we take reference from the earlier drawing, that was also very interesting, that you know how to get the other side of the window. So, let us see it in a different way. So, this is one part. Now, we know how the other part of the building should look like. So, when we have a building of this size, we should know that if this is the surface, this should be the other part of it, whether it is a window or a full-fledged building. It can be just a road corner, and we have all the clue. So, all these lines are meeting here. We can successfully use all these lines, make one area like the opening as we did for the earlier drawing, and now these are the lines that are going to tell us. Let us do it with a different color to make it easier for you, that the line here, to get the thickness of, or like to know the depth of it, we need to join it elsewhere. So, this is the direction, this is how it is going, and that is the direction. It will tell us how this line should go. We will join this line and we will get the other surface. Similarly, we will join this line, we will get the other surface of it. Now, you can easily say that let us do it with another color to make it clear. So, this is the depth of the window, very clear to our mind, the other surface, right, and that way you know how deep this space is. We can again do away with the points which are not needed, because all these lines are helpful, but they can also create confusion if we do not erase them on time. So, let us erase off all these parts. Let us get it clear. and this is a decent example of a 2-point perspective drawing. Now, let us make another window from the other surface to give it a complete look. So, if this is the size of the window, let us do it this way. So, you have a few other lines that are passing through it. So, this is one of the building, we get the other surface of it. You are free to make another one on the same road maybe, because you know how the directions are going. So, you follow the same direction, you have all this line extended, that will give you a direction. You can have even more points, it is up to you how much you are using. So, this way you can create another area with more buildings that are going towards a vanishing point. You can also make a surface, a landscape with some trees that slowly reducing in size to the other side of the road. You can have the tree trunks following the same order. If they are same in size, they will slowly reduce. We can also create a footpath using the same device. It may or may not meet into a point, and let us not forget our earlier landscape with the mountain at the salute. So, these are the possibilities of a 2-point perspective, the use of 2-point perspective. Let us clear off certain part and make it look more convincing. So, this is how the landscapes are. So, these are the example of 2-point perspective. From here we can also go for further detail, as we called it, like we use this devices as foreshortening. So, it comes at the foreground and it goes back. So, there is a shortening that is taking place because most of the middle ground is missing. So, actually the part from here to here, if it is x and y, the length of x and y will be reduced. So, if the length of x and y was around 11 feet, in foreshortening it will reduce and it can become 9 feet or 8 feet or even lesser. As it comes towards you, it becomes lesser in size. So, that is all about foreshortening. You can also reduce this foreshortening or increase the foreshortening and get an amplified effect, like as we know that you put your hand forward and you also can manipulate, you can make it slightly larger to amplify the effect, to exaggerate the effect. So, all this 1-point, 2-point perspective will lead you to a better knowledge to foreshortening, how much shortening is actually taking place, and also for many other things like amplification, exaggeration. It can also help you in a highly expressionistic visual representation. It is not that we are only capturing the naturalistic norms, but through this we can get amazing results.